Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I'm going to show you how to cut and sew this flare dress with a fabric that has border. If that's what you would like to learn, make sure not to skip any part of this video because I'm going to make this video to be detailed and beginner friendly. So let's start with the tutorial. This is the fabric I'll be using for this. So guys, this border fabric, you have to make sure you buy the one that has border on the both sides. I made a mistake and went and bought the one that has border on one side. Can you see this one? This was the first one I bought. I wanted to use for this, but if I would use this one border, I'll have to use like 4 yards or 4.5 yards even. So but with this fabric, this one that has border up and down, I use 3 yards for this. So make sure the border is not too wide. You have to measure it. I went to the market with tape to make sure it will give me what I wanted. So I used 3 yards like I said. I'm going to be drafting on pattern paper and I have drawn out my border line. From there I'm going to take the armhole length. So my armhole length is 10 inches. I'm going to mark it here, and the length of the dress I'm using is 40 inches. I added 1 inch for hemming. So I'll go ahead and square this armhole line out. Next, I'll be marking the neck width. So I'll be using 3 inches for the neck width. I'll mark it, and I'm going to divide my shoulder width divided by 2. Mine is 8.5. I'll mark it here. I'm going to drop that on the armhole length and square that out with my ruler. Next, I'm going to mark the shoulder slope of 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to connect this to the neckline like so. To mark the armhole curve, I'm going to get the bust circumference. So here on the armhole or the chest line, also known as the bust line, I'm going to take my bust divided by 4 and mark it here. And then on the armhole line, I'm going to divide whatever I have here into 2 and mark it. I'll come in here 1/2 inch. This will be for the front. So now I'm going to use my armhole curve to connect these 3 lines. This line will be for the front. So the one I just came in here with 1/2 inch, I'll go ahead and connect it like this. And for the back, I'll connect it here and here. So I'll just go ahead and place my armhole curve like this and connect that. So this one would be for the back, and this is going to be for the front. Next, I'm going to mark the neck depth. So for the back neck depth, I use 0.75, and for the front I used 4.5 inches. I'll also go ahead and use my French curve to mark the neckline. Note that all these markings, I have not added any sewing allowance to it. When I'm cutting it, I'll add sewing allowance. So this is the back and the front. And on the hem line, I'm going to mark, is a flare dress, remember. So I'm going to mark 21 inches at the hem. You can make it 18 inches if you're on the slim side. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this to make an A line. Just connect it straight from the armhole straight to the 21 inches on the hemline. So at the hemline on the side, I will come up by 4 inches, and I'm going to make a curve so that the side will not be dropping. It will not be funny anyway. So just make sure you connect this like this. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Remember, you can cut this straight on your fabric. I'm just doing this for tutorial purposes so that you'll be able to see what I'm cutting. So I'm going to use this and cut out with two pieces. I'll cut the front and the back. So remember, the armhole and the neckline is the difference. Next, I'm going to go ahead to draft the sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and mark the borderline where I'll be starting from. So first I'm going to get the cap height of 4 inches, and then the length of the sleeve I'm using is 26 inches, which I already marked already. So I'll go ahead and square this line out, and then I'm going to, like I said, the length of the sleeve I'm using is 26 inches. So next, on the cap height, I'm going to mark my round sleeve divided by 2. I'll mark it here, and then I'm going to go ahead and make a diagonal line like this, and then get the midpoint of this diagonal line. This is to help me to mark the curve. So I'm going to mark this curve like this, touching that place, and then go out like you see me doing. So on the hemline, to make this an A line or bell sleeve, I'm going to come out 15 inches and then give this a fitting. Then I'll flare it out. Can you notice the way I'm marking it? Yeah. So remember, I have not added any sewing allowance. When I'm cutting on the fabric, I'll add ½ inch sewing allowance all around. So I'll just go ahead and cut this pattern out. So I'll place this on the fabric and cut out ½ inch sewing allowance all around. Then this is my bodice. Can you see? So this is the front. I just followed the front and added ½ inch sewing allowance all around. Behind the camera, I went ahead and cut out facing for this and added interfacing for it. So I'm going to go ahead now on my machine and place the facing like this and sew ½ inch. Make sure to notch it and turn it over. Also for the back, I made a slit at the back. I also added the slit and added button loop. You can see the facing for the back. So see the facing. So I'm going to place the front. I've already done the facing for it also, as you can see. So next is for us to join the shoulder of the dress. I will align this like this, making sure fabric to fabric, facing to facing, like you see me doing, and sew ½ inch. I'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Just watch the way I'm going to bring out this facing like this so that you have a very clean finishing. So after sewing it, this is it. Next is for us to add the sleeve. So this is the sleeve. I went ahead and cut it out off camera, and remember I told you that I'm going to add ½ inch sewing allowance all around. So that's the only thing I added. And then next is for us to sew this. So go to your machine and you're going to place the sleeve to the armhole, just the normal way you sew your sleeve. That's very simple. I'm just doing this for the beginners watching this. So I'm going to place this like this and sew the sleeve. After sewing it, this is it. So I'm going to go ahead and close the side seam, and then I'm going to hem the sleeve, fold it 2 times. Also the hem of the dress, I'm going to fold it 2 times. And so this is it for this tutorial. I'll go ahead and wear it for you to see how it looks.